starting back with our weekly medium sessions. I had all intentions last time of doing it every week, but then life got in the way and I wasn't very organised. But I've already interviewed 5 mediums, so we're okay for the next 5 weeks. Yesterday I shared with you the interview with Tracy Ann. She was the first person I interviewed a few months ago, and I just wanted to reshare that with you. And as you know, Tracy's my cousin. She's an exceptional medium and continues to work really well. So the interview for today that we'll be sharing you is an interview with Tracy Jones. Some know her as TJ. Tracy is an absolutely exceptional medium. She has worked for spirits for longer than I actually realised, to be honest with you. And she is very honest and very direct with the information that she will give you. And she'll go above and beyond to help people. I've worked with Tracy. I've been lucky enough to work with her a few times, doing several hundred, loads and loads of charity events, but we've had an absolutely blast driving there and driving back. She is a fantastic medium. If you get the chance to check her out, please do. Her page is From Spirit to Spirit. Please enjoy the interview. And as usual, if you have any questions, just shoot me a message. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi Tracy, it's Sue.
Hiya, Sue. Long time no hear, love.
I-
You okay, love?
Yeah, I'm not too bad actually. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, love. Yeah, I'm going to be a nan the first time.
Oh my god, congratulations. When they due?
November. I'm having a granddaughter.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know. I'm already in love.
I can see you as a nana. I can see you fussing as a nana.
Oh, thank you, love. She cost me a fortune, but she's going to be well worth it.
Of course she is. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's great news. Oh, well, thanks for agreeing to do the interview.
More than welcome, darling. You're doing amazing, you are.
Oh.
Fairness.
Oh, bless.
You really are, and you're so busy. Fair play. You're right there, love, and you should be proud of yourself.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind. I just enjoy it, and people always, obviously how busy life is and how much I've got on, but for me, it's. Yeah, but I think everyone has stuff on and everyone's got a busy life. You just prioritise what's important, and everything that I do in terms of the spirit stuff, I enjoy it. So I sort of say, well, what do you do to unwind? You might go to a pub or you might go to the cinema. For me, I like doing shows and events or readings, so it's not a huge thing, but...
Yeah, I know you're really passionate about it, and you've got your little shop now when you read.
Yeah, you'd have to pop up for a cup of tea. It's lovely.
Definitely. I don't know where you get your energy from, love. You'll have to say.
Sugar. Cups of tea and cake.
Oh, bless you. So, is the family okay?
Yeah, everyone's fine. Yeah, well, I'll gossip about that with you after I stop recording. So, so I've just finished with one interview. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to interview everybody and do the YouTube videos and then upload them 1 week at a time. So the first question for you is to discuss how you became involved with spiritualism, your story basically of how it pushed you into working with spirit.
Right. Well, I had my first, what I would call proper spiritual experience when I was 5. When I was seeing loads of spirit faces and all, but that was quite a sad time in my life.
Okay.
But, I don't know how, we weren't a church-going family or anything, but that's when I believed in God. And that's when I believed in God, and I just knew that, angels, God and angels at 5 years of age.
So was that when you said you're going through a traumatic time?
Yes. Then when I was 22, again, another traumatic time, but that's my life. I was 22 years of age, and somebody came through, and it was my brother-in-law, who sadly had taken his own life, bless him, and I only ever met him twice, but his mum used to talk to me about him, every time I seen her. We would spend hours talking about him, and I wasn't into anything, Sue, to be honest with you. I was a bit of a scaredy cat, wouldn't watch horrors, anything to do with ghosts then,
This sounds so familiar.
Yeah, anything to do with ghosts or anything, I'd be petrified. And I can always remember it was a Sunday, and I could just see him. My husband, his brother, my husband at the time, was working night shifts. So I was in the house, and I could just see him sat on the settee, twiddling his thumbs. Now, bearing in mind, I had only met this young lad twice, and that was just, not even in his company, so to speak, like ships in passing night. And he started telling me things, and I thought I was going, around the bend. So he was giving me information about his, things that his mum hadn't talked to me about. And he was asking to pass it on to his mum. And I passed it on to his mum the following day. And I was like, you're going to think I'm, mad, but, and I told her, and she couldn't believe it. So, anyway, to cut a long story short, I was seeing him all the time, and he was passing on messages. Then I started seeing the spirit people. And then in the end, it got a little bit scary for me, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Because, I was new. I didn't know anything. I didn't know about opening and closing. Or, I was okay with my brother-in-law at the time coming through. I thought, but anybody else, I couldn't handle it at the time.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, I befriended a beautiful lady called Ray Hall, who later on became, one of my best friends, who sadly passed over. She was a working medium, and she said, you've got it. You've got it, Trace. You've got to use it. And I was like, I don't want it, as you do. And it took 10 years, I would say, for me to get my head around everything. But in the meantime, I started working at the valleys, doing the churches with her. And always doubted myself, thinking this is my imagination. I must be so good at reading people, even
guessing.
though, they might be like 15 rows behind.
Yeah.
Guessing.
I went through a stage of thinking that everybody was just too polite and didn't want to upset me, so they were just agreeing to everything that I said.
Yeah, and when you beat yourself up, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
You beat yourself up. And anyway, I took myself then to a spiritual church for myself. Even though I was serving them, I took myself to a spiritual church in Newport. And, God, I'm going back 30 odd years ago. Yeah. And it was quite difficult back then because you had a lot of the older mediums, the old school mediums. Yeah. And back then, spiritualism, it was a lot more stricter. And it really was. And it was all about philosophy, and I didn't have a clue.
Yeah, you still get those churches, mind.
Oh, yeah. So, I went there, and, when I was, sat there waiting for a message and what have you, and I started to join that church, and it became then, I found it very difficult. The oldest, not everyone, but the older school mediums sort of struggled, because don't forget, at the time, I was, early 20s, so I was, one of the youngest mediums on the circuit around this area at that time. So it was very difficult. It wasn't as supportive as it can be now. It was very difficult to sort of find your place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
You know, and I don't get me wrong, I looked up to them all, and I used to sit there and think, oh, I want to be like her, or I want to be like him.
Yeah.
Or, you know, as you do, or I wouldn't mind a bit of that. And then in the end, I thought, you know what, I can't be no different. I can only be myself. So, and it all went from there. And then in 1999, God, that seems ages ago, 1999, I opened a spiritual church with my friend Ray, and we took it into the millennium, and we had it, we ran it together for about 5 years before she sadly passed away.
Yeah.
So, that's my journey, how I started off.
And that's the common theme from all the other mediums that I'm speaking to. You know, the ego says, I want to work this way, I want to do that this way. But as soon as we accept that we have no control, we just have to do what Spirit wants us to.
That's it.
The easier the information flows.
Yeah, you're spot on, love. I mean, at the time, I think, oh God, she said a beautiful prayer there, or what a lovely philosophy, because there was a lot more philosophy back then. And, and I was thinking, I want a bit of that, a bit of this. But in the end, it wasn't me. I just, I can't explain it. It just wasn't me. I tried it, don't get me wrong. I would write lovely philosophy down, and I'd try it, and I was like, it's not me. This is not how I'm supposed to be.
And I think, knowing the way you're supposed to work is the best part of the journey, isn't it? Because it complements the senses, the clear senses that you'll be working with,
and not only that, so I think, we've all got the gift. Every one of us are capable. We really are. But I think, when your guides do come forward, they accept you for who you are, and they love you for who you are. Of course, you grow with them, but you still have to be yourself.
Yeah. I tend to do, when it comes to philosophy in churches or things like that, I tend to just talk about my own experiences, because I think anybody can pick up a book and recite it and say, this is what we believe. But unless you've gone through it or experienced it yourself, then it's not really a connection, if that makes sense.
Do you know what? I totally agree with you on that, love, because to me, when you listen to a medium share their experiences or, situations, whether it be, uplifting or sad, and I think it touches you more because you can relate, or someone that can relate to what that medium have said. So it's more about life is now.
Yeah, and it feels more honest that way, doesn't it?
Definitely. I agree with you.
You said you see Spirit, so what other ways does Spirit connect with you?
Right. Oh, God, love.
And I know how it works, but I just know a lot of people who are listening won't know. So, I know obviously they change, and some days one thing is stronger than another, but generally, which is the way that you tend to work?
Well, back in the early days, I got to be honest, as much as I was nervous and fearful, so to speak, I won't deny it, because I'm human. I had it all then, so I got to be honest, my seeing and my hearing was absolutely spot on. And where now, as I've got older, and through the years with experiences, life becomes more difficult, with families and illnesses. And I think how Spirit work, I can see Spirit, don't get me wrong, but maybe say, I got a lot on my mind, just say, well, then maybe I'm not seeing as clear, or they're not able to work with me as well.
Yeah.
So then they'll sharpen up another of my senses.
Yeah.
Whether that be my clairsentient, or my hearing, clairaudience. So, I would say at the moment, it's like going up a ladder, back down the ladder, back up 2 rungs, back down the rung, because we're always learning. And with whatever's going on in our lives, maybe we're not firing as good as we could be.
Yeah.
Because of material life. Does that make sense?
100%. I completely agree with you that when things aren't great with us, emotional and mental health, I should say, that's when it's not always as easily to connect, or your vibrations aren't raised enough to connect. And I know from my experience, when I've gone through something, it's almost as if, well, they know, 100% they know what's going on. I mean, the classic story that I tell people is that before my dad passed, I remember looking in my diary and thinking, oh, I've got nobody booked in for March and April. And at that time was very unusual because I was incredibly busy. And I thought, oh, what's meant to be will be. But then obviously my dad died at the beginning of March.
They knew.
They knew.
So they
and what I
free.
just found was so interesting was that nobody messaged. So for about 3 months, I had no phone calls or texts about a charity show or readings or group readings, and I was getting charity show requests daily. And I ended up going to a friend of a friend's house to talk to her about my beliefs in the afterlife, and I ended up giving her a reading from her dad. And the reading I gave her was almost what I needed to hear from my dad. And the drive from her house to mine is about 5 minutes. And as you probably do, I turn my phone off when I'm working. I turned it back on when I got home. I had 16 calls, and then my phone didn't stop again. So
wow.
I trust that when I'm not busy, it's for a reason.
Exactly.
And when I'm really busy, I thank Spirit for the gift of being able to work. And it's sort of like that knowledge of, you can't control it. It's what's meant to be. So if you're not in an emotionally strong place, I don't think, you're given readings as effectively anyway.
No, and like you said, it's I'm at the stage now, I've been doing this 34 years.
Wow.
And I'm at the stage now where, they know. And if, and you're meant to be where you're meant to be.
Absolutely.
And, they'll guide the people to you, or they'll guide you where you need to be. And if you feel like, it's all gone quiet, there's always a reason, whether you need to rest or whether they can see, which they can, that maybe it's not going to be a good time for that person. And I believe that, and I always have trust and faith in Spirit, 110%.
And it's hard, isn't it? Because I am quite, I will admit, quite a controlling person. I like controlling aspects of my life and knowing what's happening and being quite organised. So it's quite hard to sort of
You've got no chance of controlling what Spirit wants.
And I think that's been my hardest journey, or the hardest part of my journey, is just to sort of say, all right, okay, what will be, will be.
Exactly. And not only that, but then, I think it's a learning curve for you as well, just to, loosen the reins now and again and have trust in faith. Like you said, what will be, will be.
And that's sort of like impacted on other parts of my life. There are other things that I'm not so stressy about because of the lessons that Spirit have taught me, and I think that's true of everybody.
Wonderful, Sue. It's wonderful, and at the time, we think, like you said, I'm sure we thought. I've thrown my dummy out the palm, so to speak, over the years, and I got, no shame in saying so.
Yeah.
I'm human, but they know what's best for us.
Yeah.
They do, and there's always something to be learned, whether it is from a private reading to someone else. Like you said, the words you gave someone was what you needed to hear.
Absolutely.
So it's wonderful, isn't it, Sue?
Yeah, it is. So going on about how wonderful it is, what's your most memorable or inspiring reading that will always stay with you?
Oh God,
I know.
There's so many, you know, I'm laughing. I've got, you know, there's funny ones. You know, there's so many.
Tell us a funny one, because I know what you're like. I've worked with you before, so I know the capers you to get up to. So,
the most memorable one, I would say, you know, and I'm going back years ago, many years ago. I was doing readings at my home at the time, and thankfully my son was home, and he was upstairs, thankfully, and I had a gentleman come into my home, and I was doing him a reading. But, you know, I've got a wicked sense of humour, Sue.
yes.
I really am. I can only be me, and sometimes I laugh, or, you know, maybe things that's a little bit not appropriate, but, you know, not that someone's pain, far from it. But so this one time I was reading this gentleman, and I could see a chicken running up and down my kitchen. So I dismissed her in the beginning, and then I said to him, you know, I can see this chicken, and it's running up and down my kitchen. And God love him, he did get upset, you know, and I did feel for him. And then he brought out his phone,
Oh, no.
and he showed me, oh my God, there had to be about 16, 18 pictures of chickens.
Please tell me you didn't speak to a chicken.
Right, on my life, right, of chickens. And it was, you know, it was like 16, 18 pictures of chickens, not all different chickens. It was like maybe 3 chickens, but over different photographs. And he asked me if I could point the chicken out. Well, I couldn't, so. Yeah, and I was thinking, is this man being serious with me, or is he winding me up?
Oh, my God.
And the last photograph, he had, there was a photograph, I couldn't make it out. I could make a chicken out, and he was holding it under the arm, and it was in the fridge. Not the chicken, the fridge door. The fridge door was open, and the chicken was, you know, his face and beak was in the fridge. And he said to me, he's choosing one of his grapes. And I sat there and I was thinking, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this one now? And my imagination was running wild. And I said, well, I'm so sorry, I don't know which one of the 3 of your chickens, you know, I am sorry. You know, and he said, you know, he was really passionate. Him and his mum loved the chickens, and I couldn't help myself. And I found myself saying, you know, do you eat them? I couldn't help myself, so. And, you know, he was mortified. And it's, you know, he's like, no, we're vegetarians. And I couldn't apologise. And I said that in my brain, like, you know, when you go to the supermarkets to eat chicken, not the chickens that are passed. Well, by the time the conversation, I dug myself into a massive hole, and I've never seen him since.
No, I'm not surprised.
You know, but in a way, you know, I was thinking, I'm so glad my son's upstairs, because I didn't know where this was going. Do you know what I mean?
But that just goes to show it can be any connection, a 2 spirits, a love connection with anything, you know, even a chicken.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've given him, you know, the messages, and, you know, at the end, you know, I just said, you know, I can see this chicken, and that's what he came for. To be honest with you.
But then that's evidence of spirit around him, so that's what he needed.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, he loved his chickens, you know, and I get that. But at the time, that's the first time I've ever come across anybody like that. And, you know, to see someone emotional over their chicken, and maybe not as emotional over a loved one that comes through, but we'd all make difference. So.
That's the way he wanted it. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love the chicken story. So, I know, obviously, you said in the beginning you're going to be a nana soon, so congratulations.
Thank you, my darling.
What else do you have planned for the future?
I've got, because of lockdown and everything, love, you know, we're only just starting to get out very well. But I got an event coming up now with other mediums, with Chris Allen's church, which is at the 3 Penny bit, Cumbran, and that's that's 8 mediums working. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And I'm very lucky, Sue, because Spirit will bring people towards me that maybe may need charity work, or or point me in the right direction. So everything's left up to Spirit
I
at
know.
the moment.
Oh, well, that's
Trust and
good.
faith again.
That's good for you. Well, thank you for your time. It's been great talking to you.
Oh, thank you, Sue. I hope I haven't bored you, love.
Oh, you haven't. I love chatting to you. You've got the best stories and the wicked stories as well, so.
Oh, thank you, my darling. And, and I wish you all the best in what you're doing, because you deserve it, my love.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, thank you very much. Take care.
Take care, babe.
And
Bye.
you. Bye now. Bye. Thank you for watching the video with Tracy. I'm sure you agree that it was a really insightful and fun way to spend some time. You can follow Tracy on her Facebook page, which is From Spirit to Spirit, and all her contact details are on there. Please press the bell button to receive notifications for when more videos are being uploaded, and we will speak to you next week. Take care.